Do you want your drums to sound super hefty and punchy and fat? Well, boy, do I have a plugin for you. Let's dive into it. So what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Chris here. Boy, do I have a plugin. That was an understatement, because now I've just refilmed this intro after filming this video, and this plugin is insane. Like, I'm not even joking. At first I was like, this is gonna be fun, and I tested it a little bit beforehand, but like, now that I've had the experience with it, you're gonna really dig this. The plugin is called Orion by Cradle, and it's basically a drum processor all in one thing. It's doing distortion, saturation, compression, EQ. It's got parallels built in, but there's a real lot to explore, and so this is what the video is going to be about. Also, stay tuned for the end of the video, because I'm going to be hosting a giveaway, so just make sure you stick till the end to get the details for that. Otherwise, that's about it. Let's crack on with the video, but don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. The support really helps. With that said, let's crack on. We're going to check it out on a couple of different sources, all drums related, but we're going to do some actual programmed drums, some real drums, and just see what it can add to the sound. And I'm really excited because I've just been playing around with it and it sounds wicked. So to start us off, I've got a session here, and also new thing, we're in Ableton 11, son. Very excited. I'm a little late to the party on this because I've had projects that I was finishing up on 11, so I was really sticking to that, but I've just purchased this and I'm very excited to get into it. I'll be doing a video to break down some of my favorite features and stuff, but for the time being, we're gonna crack on with this plugin. So let's listen to the drums. No plugin, I'm just gonna have it bypassed, and then we will check what it sounds like when I start doing stuff with it. So there you have it. That's what is going on in this plugin. We're going to dive into every single control in this thing and break down just what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, as much as I can tell you anyway, there isn't a lot of information about what is actually happening outside of what you can see on the actual plugin itself. We're going to check it out and see what's in store. So just a quick breakdown of everything you see on the plugin from left to right. We've got, this is our drive section here, and that includes harmonic distortion and saturation. We've got some compression, got some lift. Then we have a harmonic EQ over here, a very nice EQ that's just boost, no cut in this case, so it's more just additive type of EQ. And then here we've got 4 different parallels, which I find quite interesting. Parallels are just duplicating our signal, processing them separately, and then we're just technically adding how much of that signal we want to put back into our drum sound. So these are almost like volume faders for each of those parallel sends. And then lastly, we've got some input, output, high pass, not much else beside that. So I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger. Boom. All right. So starting off from the very left at our input stage, similar to the gut particle, we've got this green area here, which is pretty much the intended level for this plugin. So you want your drums hitting more or less in here. You can be a bit over, a bit under, but I guess it's just what the plugin perceives as the more ideal sound, you could say. One thing I did notice when I was looking into the information about this plugin is that on the Cradle website, there's like a little bit of information about it. And in this section, the compression, they've added that Jason Joshua likes to have his compression anywhere between -1 and -2 dB. So I guess that's also a pretty good idea of where you can level your drums, because depending how hard you push the input will depend how hard it's compressed. And as well, once you add color, this color section, that also adds a bit of gain. So maybe just have that running in the background, see more or less how you're going to set your gain for this plugin, and then just crack on and see what sounds best to you. But I think that's a good idea of more or less how to level your drums so that they're sitting in the appropriate place. So let's check out this color section. For the time being, I'm going to turn off all the other sections and we'll just start from scratch. Let's hear it. Wow, so you can hear they're all slightly different from each other. I really like A, it sounds really clean, but like a bit more punchy. B sounds like it's being pushed a little bit harder. And then C kind of sounds like a nice middle ground where it's being driven, getting a little bit of excitement out of the top end, especially. I think it's sounding really nice. High pass, not much to it. There's just a high pass filter applied. This is technically after the drive section in general, but something to be aware of. And now moving on to the rest of the drive section, let's check out the harmonics. As you can see here, we've got two options between 50 Hertz, 80 Hertz, and then how much of that we want to add. So let's hear what it sounds like. I'm going to keep the color on A for the time being as well. So as you can hear there, it's a very subtle control, but adding a real nice bit of warmth to that low end, just giving us a little bit of something. And now let's check out what this compression is doing. Sounded really nice. I'm really digging the sound of that, just giving us a bit more squash to our drums, making the quieter bits become a bit louder, the louder bits kind of squash a bit down. Classic compression, you could say, but sounds really great. Let's move on to the lift. I'm really digging this lift. So the lift module is adding a little bit of saturation and harmonic excitement across the whole frequency spectrum, but mainly adding focus in particular to the top end. So you're getting a bit of just general oomph from the whole drum sound, but your, brightness is coming out a bit and it's sounding really crispy, safe to say. So moving on to the next section, the EQ, the harmonic EQ in this case. Let's turn it on. As you can see, I was playing with it before, so let's just level that out and just give it a listen, see what we can get it to sound like. I mean, more or less, it feels like a pretty broad EQ. There's not like very tight cues going on, and they only go to 6 dB each, so you're not going to be doing some wild EQ. Bear in mind, this is a plugin that lives more or less on the drum bus, so a lot of the moves that should be done are maybe not these huge, drastic moves to change the drum sound, but more things you can add to sweeten it up and just make the drums sit almost like just polishing what you already have, basically. But overall, I really like the sound of them. I think they're quite subtle in a good way, and I imagine you'll probably be using a combination of this and the parallels. I mean, I guess a bit of everything really, but if you really want to do some final sculpting to your overall drum sound, this EQ will probably be a good place to reach for. So I'm just going to quickly set a little EQ curve to something that I think makes these drums shine a bit. Then we'll move on to the parallels section. This I'm very excited about because these parallels I find are quite powerful. Yeah, we'll just see what they sound like one by one. Let's do it. Wow, really digging these. So you can see we've got 4 different parallels going on: sub, low, loud, and grit. Sub and low are both catered to more of the low end, obviously, of the drums. Sub may be dealing with a bit more of the low lows. Low feels more like anywhere between 200 to like 800 hertz. So dealing with that low end, but more like the chesty kind of low end. Loud, I'm assuming, is kind of like a clipper because it's making the drums louder without necessarily increasing the volume. So it could be like a parallel clipper or something like this. And grit is maybe a bit more like a transient shaper, just giving us a bit more attack and just really kind of finalizing the overall punch of our drums. Overall, sounds really sick though. I'm really enjoying this. You can see here I've just matched the input and the output because maybe my drums weren't necessarily hitting that mark as much as I'd like, so I've just boosted them and then just pulled it down in the output to make sure that the plugin is at unity gain all the way through. But that sounds really great. Let's hear these on some other drums and see how it compares. I think I'm done explaining the plugin, so let's just hear what it sounds like on other examples. Okay, so for this next example, I'm going to be showing off the drums I've programmed for the song Sometime Soon by Tamea Farr and Ryan Healy. I've done a breakdown on this song, so if you want to see the full thing, you can check it out up there. But let's just listen to the drums and see what this plugin does. I've actually turned off some of the processing I've got because it's doing a similar thing. I've got some drive, some limiting, and some clipping. So just bypass that for the time being. We're just going to see what this gives us. I'm going to chuck it on. I made a little preset, which is basically the same thing. It's just everything off. And we'll give it a listen. Let's check it out. Woo. Damn. That lift is sounding insane. So that's sounding crazy, but one thing I'd like to point out that I noticed is my drums are hitting this plugin about -6, -2.5, depending on which ear you're on. But on the output of this, it's -12, -13. So the drums are actually sounding louder on the way out, but they're almost half as quiet. This is crazy. Like, I'm just gonna have to check this one more time to make sure I'm not losing my mind here, but I mean, this is definitely changing that master output, but I am driving it and then pulling it down about the same, so otherwise there shouldn't really be much of a change in volume. But this is crazy that it's sounding louder. We've got quieter drums, so naturally we've got more headroom for the mix bus. This is insane. I noticed it doing it a couple of dB, that we were 1 or 2 dBs quieter in the last version, but this is like blowing my mind a bit. I mean, I'll take it. Sounds great. That's crazy. But there you go. There's some voodoo going on in this plugin, but it sounds insane. Really happy with, just the overall thing that it's giving me. It's like, I always do a bit of limiting, a bit of saturation EQ to my drums, so the fact that it's all in one package is really good. Bear in mind, I am using the trial for this, so something's telling me I am gonna have to purchase this. But if you want to take a look at it, there will be a link in the description. By the way, this ain't a sponsored video, but I got really excited when my friend Max was showing me this plugin, and I was like, damn, I gotta do a video on this because this is gonna be game changing. So really happy to check it out, and I would recommend you do the same. Get the trial, try it for yourself, see if you dig it. Now, I say we try this on some real drums and see how it sounds. Okay, so for the last track, this is a song called All Again by my friend Dan Holmes. This is a song that actually isn't out yet, so I'm just going to be showing you the drums. But if you want to see another song that I've done a breakdown for of his, you can check out one up here. I really dig that song, so I think it'll be worth checking out. Let's do the same thing. I've got the drums here. I've turned off some of the processing. There's only some distortion and some clipping because these drums were eventually moved into a bigger session where there was the full production. So for the time being, it's a very kind of demo session. But let's chuck Orion on here. We are looking for Cradle, Orion, boom. And let's see how it sounds. I'm going to use this Start Me Up preset on this one, and let's just give it a flick and see what we can get it to sound like. So far, it's a great start. Woo. Wow. That sounds mad. Compression sounds wicked. This lift for me is wonderful control. Nice. Oh, that's sick. Let's check out these parallels. Woo! That sub is sounding great on the kick drum. And again, would you look at this, like we're hitting at about -1.3, -1.2, and then exiting the plugin at -5.1, and just listen to how much quieter it sounds without the plugin. Like, that's blowing my mind. But all in all, this plugin is sounding wicked. I'm really vibing with this. I think it sounds great. Something is telling me I'm gonna have to pick it up. But overall, it just does what you kind of want it to do on drums. I enjoy kind of mixing up my drum bus. I do have a couple of things that I tend to reach for, whether it's decapitator, standard clip, R bass, sometimes Shadow Hills, compressor. This kind of just takes all of those things I use and put it into one plugin, which is really sick. And I'm really enjoying just the sound I'm getting from it. I think it's really powerful. Overall, I'm really digging this plugin. Cradle, you've smashed it. I think that's about it for this video, you know? I don't think there's much more to say. It's really done a great job at just showing off how good it is. And that's about it for this video. So if you enjoyed it, I'd really love to know what you thought about the plugin in the comment section below. So let us know. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. The support really helps. Thank you to anyone who's already done so. But I'm thinking about doing a giveaway. I've had an additional license of the Rhodes V8 Pro for a while. I won a copy of it when I did the Rhodes competition. You can also check that out. But Rhodes had actually hit me up and they said, have some plugins, we'd love for you to try them out if you want to do any videos on them. And I said, listen, I've already actually got the V8 Pro, but I'd love to do a giveaway for it if that's cool. And I said, yeah, that's completely fine. So basically the terms for the giveaway, I don't want to stay bugging people to be like, oh, invite so-and-so friends to like this. So I think the only rules will be you got to be subbed to the channel, you got to leave a comment and follow the Instagram. I think that's about it. I don't actually have too many followers or subscribers, so there's actually quite a high chance that you might win. So feel free to leave a comment below letting us know. You'll be entered in the competition. But otherwise, that's about it for this video. Once again, I've been Chris Vella, and I'll see you on the next one.